Hello, so today we're gonna go over a Heavenly KAYN, Heavenly Lee Sin game. It's not probably the smoothest game I've played. I'll point out one of the big mistakes that happens a little bit later on in the game. But this is a Crab Rave game. I find that it's really difficult because I'm somebody who I really like playing towards melee units. I feel like unless you're playing duelist reroll, there's not very strong melee options, right? I think the melee forecasts are kind of weak in terms of the board they can create, and they're not very prevalent in the meta, which is fine. There's been a lot of patches where it was heavily melee focused, right? If you think back to the Heavenly Reapers and Duelists, when both of those, back when Titans was one of the best items, it was always a Gnar player, there was always a KAYN player, and there was always a Duelist player. But since that patch, it always feels a little bit awkward, and with the changes to Heavenly, I feel like it feels like whenever you have to play towards KAYN, you really want to go to level you want to be able to make it to level 9 in order to play around Wukong, right? Wukong, Rakan, and cap out around those legendary units, which makes it a little bit more challenging to play. I'm not sure exactly why I ended up going down a melee route. I think it's just the way my items work out. Or maybe I hit something like Divine Rolls. We'll see what the first augment is, and then we'll figure it out. I'm somebody who, but generally, in a lot of the patches, even in last set, in the set before that, I love playing around melee carries, right? I think that they're so cool. I have a good understanding of them. I find that the placement also becomes a lot better. Because with the backline, when they switch targets and all of that stuff, I feel like it's really fun to position the melee units. You can kind of figure out where you want to avoid the tank and exactly where to position them, or second row them so they have better targeting. I feel like I have a good intuition for stuff like that. It's just this set, there hasn't been that much in terms of what to do around it. So first augment. Oh, do I just commit to it? So I have Cybernetic Uplink. Let's look at my other options. Cybernetic Uplink I don't really like. Sleight of Hand is okay, but I don't like it as a gold augment. I find that it's not good enough late game. It's good early game. It's not very good middle game, and it's really good late game if you have to itemize a 5 cost. But I don't have any other gloves, so I won't get much value off of it. So I just take the Heavenly emblem, which is a little bit awkward. Yeah, that's just an awkward start. I think looking at my items, I have a Bloodthirster and half a GA component, as well as half Even Shroud, or I have lots of stuff that I can play. I'm trying to figure out what's stronger here. I think it's just play Mythic with the Heavenly. The Sniper is really important though, so maybe it's drop the Mythic here. I think the stronger board is drop Mythic and just play 2 Sniper, because I don't think I'm gonna win rounds, but I would rather kill units, and the 2 Sniper will kill units because Caitlyn can just one shot something. I would also like to say, so for those of you who didn't see in yesterday's vid, I did hit Masters again, so that's very nice. Now I feel I would ideally like to play more. I heard LP gains are bugged a little bit, which doesn't really apply if you're lower elo, Masters below, I mean. It really only matters to really top level high elo players, because it's kind of not taking into account your MMR in some cases, right? Or I've seen there's a lot of the streamers, if you've seen Dish Soap and Setsuko, it's some of them they're losing 20 for a 6th, and usually when you're that high LP, when you're in the thousands of LP in Challenger, usually you lose a lot more because your lobbies are typically a lot weaker than you, so you usually gain very little, and it makes it harder and harder to climb. But they're just getting absurdly high LP numbers. That would apply in Masters as well, right? Just not losing as much as you climb up. But I don't have time to grind this patch, so unless they bug fix it soon, maybe I'll be able to climb a little bit faster. Who knows? I would ideally like to have a goal to go towards that's a little bit later on, basically after. For those that don't know, I have an art convention, or there's an anime convention that I have a gallery spot at, so I'm just trying to grind and finish up the art. I've been playing one game of TFT a night. Some of these VODs are a little bit old, this one was when I was in Diamond 2. And usually on this channel, I just do daily VOD reviews. Every week I'll do a nice little tutorial thing. That might be postponed to next week, just because I need to spend all my time this week finishing my art that has to be displayed at the convention. And then after next week, I might go back to like, you know, doing like long, like 3-hour streams, or not 3 hours is long, but like, you know, actually like put in like a solid chunk of each day into TFT, which is nice. Thank you for all the support. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We're going to have an RP giveaway at 500 subs. We just finished our previous giveaway, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be entered in that. And follow the instructions when we get close to our goal. Thank you. Alright, so I'm pretty much playing towards this always. Did I slam a BT already? I slammed even shot, I think, right? Just because it's like a little bit more tempo because I have the but if I'm playing Kha'Zix, even shot doesn't really do much. I feel like I messed up somewhere. Okay, I'm playing Kha'Zix, not Kog'Maw. Yeah, that's okay. It's kind of okay. There's another spat. Another spat doesn't really help. Don't get baited because the heavenly, like, you don't have people to. You'll see late game why. Like I really mess up my spat late game. It doesn't really change much in terms of my placements, I don't think, but it might have changed my placements a little bit. I would always just make GA here. GA is just really good on melee carries in general. It's not like the greatest in terms of stats. We can look at some itemizations after when we have more direction of what to go on. But typically what you're doing is heavenly. Whenever you're playing like these heavenly boards, you typically want some sort of melee carry. Right, I've recently shown like itemizing Qiyana, and playing Qiyana with a heavenly setup is extremely strong. I think it's like even a stronger variation than some of these. Here I end up making Hodge GA. That's fine. Usually you like Bloodthirster, so like whenever you look at melee carries, you usually think of like, you know, Hodge, which is Hand of Justice, right? It's just a short form of this item right here. And then you have Bloodthirster, which will just go like BT, right? The thing that Hodge does is this is just like damage, right? Because what it does is it basically gives you like increased crit chance, it gives you some starting mana, and it does like a lot of stuff. The starting mana is really good on KAYN, or it used to be really good on KAYN, because KAYN, you need to like basically when he does his first cast, he turns into Rost. I don't play League, I'm not 100% familiar with everything. But like he turns into like whatever the fuck, and then his hair grows long, or his hair like drops out of its bun, and he starts spinning like crazy, right? This really sucks for me because a lot of these items are kind of useless. Bloodthirster, what it does is it gives like but these are both like different Omnivamp items, right? What that means is like there's basically different healing items. So when you're playing a melee carry, because they're like in the fray, right? They're taking damage because they're in the front line usually. You want some sort of healing on them typically. A Bloodthirster, what it does is it gives a shield, right? They changed Bloodthirster so it does like this health shield at one point. And that's really important now. So a lot of times Bloodthirster is the better Omnivamp item, even though Hodge adds like a lot of utility. And a lot of times like units really like Hodge. Just the shielding on the Bloodthirster is so important. It's so useful that a lot of times Bloodthirster is a better item. Now, I don't want to slam items because I want to be healthy and rich. I'm kind of low health anyways. I'm losing a lot of these fights. But ideally, we start our win streak now, right? We're making 40, so we are making good econ. We're basically pretty good, right? We're in a pretty good spot, I would say, right? But that's why. But I just want to make sure my HP is good. Sorry, allergies again today. So typically when you're playing Heavenly, because Heavenly's bonuses, they apply more to the Heavenly units, but in general, Heavenly bonuses work really nicely with frontline units, right? Heavenly gives basically every type of stat, and frontline units use all of the stats, right? Like they can use AP, they can use AD, right? Armor and MR are also very useful. Omnivamp is very useful, and then crit is very useful, right? It's like they use it a lot better than like per se a backline unit, right? Like a lot of times, like, let's say you have a Morgana, right? Like here's Morgana over here, right? When she does her snowflake thing, it doesn't really matter if she has extra AD or crit a lot of the times, or even armor and MR, unless like there's backline access from the team. a lot of times the heavenly bonuses work way better. Like, they work way better on a frontline unit because they use all the stats really well, which is why typically if you have a heavenly +1 or you're playing like heavenly something, it's always like with a melee carry, right? In general, because I have Hodge, I just slam GA instantly. The reason is that I already have Shred here, right? A lot of times, like, typically you'd make like a Last Whisper as like your third item on KAYN, because Last Whisper is really good. If you're playing towards KAYN, even if you're playing towards Lee Sin, Even Shroud is nice just because like the way my items worked out. I'm able to make 2 items here, right? I could have easily made Bloodthirster instead of Hodge, but I decided to make Even Shroud first because I think it's a little bit stronger early game, as well as I had the option of Hodge and the option of GA afterwards. So it gives me like 3 completed items. Here, I'm not slamming Titans. I don't think it's a Titans diff this fight, but it might be later on. Titans isn't that good on a lot of the units in the Heavenly board. I think it's pretty good on Lee Sin, but typically you play it when you have like Gargantuans. So I'm not quite sure. Healing Orbs is okay. I'd probably take Healing Orbs here. I'm okay with taking Item Grab Bag. But Healing Orbs is just like, it's not that necessary because I already made a healing item. And because I have Heavenly Emblem, I'm going to get like some Omnivamp from this. Right? The Heavenly +1, the stat that gives is Omnivamp. So not super important. As you can see on my bench, I don't have a Kiana. If I had a Kiana, I would put these items on the Kiana. Edge of Night is also like Biss on Kiana. It's like really fucking good on Kiana. So I wouldn't mind itemizing a Kiana, but I haven't naturaled any. So it's not looking like it's going to be an itemized Kiana game like the other video that I posted. So in that case, I'm kind of not really worried about rolling on 6. I just want to make it like full econ, be really rich on level 8, and then roll on level 8 for like as many units as I can find. But my item economy does look good. I'm not slamming Titans as well because Bow could be a red buff, and Chainmail could be a what's it called? What's the item? Sunfire. This guy's boiling point, so I don't think this is a Titans diff, right? I got waxed by the whole team, right? This is just like a game diff. He's level 7, 40 gold, you know. 100 streaking. I should be able to. I'm contemplating if I level here and just throw away 1 gold to try and make my board strong. I just lost a fight, so I probably won't. I just need to really be rich because the biggest thing with this board is that you want to like hit on level. You want to not only hit level 8, which might take a lot of gold. You also want to go 9, right? Because like if I'm playing that with the Heavenly +1, I really want a Wukong, because the 7 Heavenly spike and a Wukong 2 with 7 Heavenly will probably carry me to like a top 4 easily. So you know, want to make it work. Whenever you're playing Heavenly, you could play it with pretty much any of the 4-cost carries. We can go through some stats right now. Stats. So here I just clicked Heavenly Emblem and just showing like relative delta. It wasn't super useful. Like it says the best holder is Rakan, and then after that is Diana. I kind of got baited by this because like I was looking if it's good on like Lee Sin, and it was saying that it's like sometimes good but it's not necessarily good, and it's like okay on Silas, and it's like alright on KAYN, but it's pretty much good on like anybody. Heavenly Spat is like one of those emblems where you can just shove it in and it's always good on a board. When we go on Explorer and we go like let's just say we go like KAYN 2-star, and we'll go 6 Heavenly, right? Because that's like a typical setup, is you have something like this. It averages like a little bit below average. That's what I mean by it's like quite underpowered. I think it's a little bit better if you have Lee Sin 2 as well. Like if you play this variation where you have KAYN 2 and Lee Sin 2, it does average like above average, but it's like you need a lot of resources, right? If you have just the Lee Sin 2 with 6 Heavenly, there's like a Dragon Lord setup where you don't play the KAYN. It's actually worse to play KAYN, which I will play KAYN in this game because this was after I learned about this. But I just wanted to point out that now typically what you do is you play like Lee Sin with 6 Heavenly. And if you have 7 Heavenly, I think it's even better. Before you would play like KAYN and Lee Sin, but now you kind of just skip the KAYN, right? See, it says Even Shroud's really good on Lee Sin, which is why I made Even Shroud and not Last Whisper, because like it works well with item economy. Edge of Night's also okay on Lee Sin, but typically you want to just make like some giga items. It says Heavenly Spat though is plus Delta, right? So usually, like what I understand Heavenly Lee Sin is that you usually put the Heavenly Spat on the Lee Sin, but it was saying that's plus Delta in this case. So I was like, you know, do I really want to do this? And then 6 Heavenly was the same issue, right? Heavenly Emblem is like really plus Delta on Lee Sin because you want the 3 items on the Lee Sin, and the 3rd item is more important than the extra stat bonuses you would get from the Heavenly Emblem, right? Or so it seems. So I think there's some guides out there, like I remember like TFT Academy, like here, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like the more capped version when you have a Heavenly +1 is to play like this variation where you play Lee Sin. But it says like the Heavenly Emblem is not that good, but I think like maybe I'm just not looking at the stats properly, because like it's obviously better than playing a KAYN, right? If I go like 7 Heavenly and Rakan, but I guess like they're saying like the better cap is to play like Rakan instead. See, it's like less plus, like it's getting better, right? I think like if you actually have like proper variation, it probably is minus Delta. It's just a little bit difficult. But anyways, the board that you're kind of trying to build towards always when you're playing these boards, basically you can play all the Heavenly units, right? In your max cap, you're playing something along the lines of this, right? So Qiyana gives Duelist with the Lee Sin, and then Wukong and Rakan work really well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it just 8? Yeah. And then you probably like a Sage, like a Morgana, or even a Diana, right? So you get like the extra Sage value. You have a Heavenly Emblem on one of the units that is non-Heavenly. The Dragon Lord works really well because the attack speed buffs the whole board. And then typically like your Wukong works as a secondary carry to your Lee Sin. Now this is like a very capped version of the board where you're playing 7 Heavenly. A lot of times the Soraka doesn't give much, especially if you don't have a Rakan. So a lot of times you'll have like this kind of setup, and then you'll have like a Morgana KAYN. This was like the old variation, right? Where you'll have like Morgana KAYN and maybe like Malphite's holding utility items, so you put him like up top with your other units, and then Wukong somewhere. And this is like your cap version when you hit the Wukong. And a lot of times you don't even hit the 7 Heavenly, even with a Heavenly Spat. If you have a Heavenly Spat, it's really important to put the Heavenly Emblem on somebody. The problem is that like if you look at this board, you have to play Soraka over somebody. It's usually Soraka, I think, over Morgana, because the Sage doesn't matter as much when you have the Heavenly Emblem. So let's just put in Soraka. So your board looks something like this, and then your Heavenly Emblem is usually on Diana, but you can probably put on like Lee Sin, because it's probably a little bit better on Lee Sin in this type of setup, especially if Lee Sin's like your Giga tank, because then it just gains a bunch of armor and some resistances. But this is pretty much like what your setup usually looks like. The bigger problem is we'll see in my actual video when we get there. Now this is 4-1, so after neutrals I just got a bunch of items. I win this fight. I rolled early though. I'm not sure why. I think I'm contested, like maybe I'm contested duelist. I rolled on 4-1 because I was likely contested and I was relatively rich. I found 1 KAYN, 1 Lee Sin, so I don't feel like I'm particularly stable. Who was contesting me that I was so stressed to roll early? Usually I'll wait till 4-2 to level at perfect interval. But I guess it doesn't matter. I guess my thought process doesn't matter because I want to go 9 anyways. Ooh, I should have probably taken Ascension. I think Little Buddies is good here though. Little Buddies is really good because I'm always going to be playing these 4 units. So I always have like 4 units buffing my main units. Oh yeah, this might have been an itemized Qiyana situation. Oh, now I'm paired on both of them. Oh, that's really rough. Yeah, so we missed the initial roll down, but I don't really care about going back in the VOD because it's not that important. Oh, I think it's this guy that's just holding like Morgana and maybe playing like a Lee Sin randomly. Deathblade is also pretty good on KAYN, right? So we can look at the itemizations. I'm kind of going for Giga items on this dude. I make red buff to give myself anti-heal. The problem is, because I'm paired on both units, I'm pretty much 0 every round. Like every round I'm making no econ, which is pretty bad. Usually you want to stabilize around hitting one of them. Hitting like a pair of both of them is pretty bad because it costs a lot of money, and like I'd rather have like KAYN 2 than this extra Lee Sin, because a KAYN 2 makes me stable, that I feel comfy that I can make it to level 9. Here I'm playing like an Ashe Lilia board, which is like the old variation, which is a bit rough because, like, as you can see, they have Ashe 2. Like, does this guy have an Ashe 2 Lilia 2? This is the Boiling Point Porcelain guy. Yeah, this was the guy that was like rich and full streaking, so he just hit everything. And then he hit Reinforcement. He took Reinforcement to guarantee that he finds a 2-star of one of them. Like, come on. Anyways, I hit the KAYN 2, so now I'm fine. The 6 Heavenly isn't that important right now. It's probably better just to get Ghostly in and Sage in. Here's like the big problem that you'll notice. As you can see, I didn't put the emblem on the Lee Sin. I put it on the Diana. Right, this is like archaic tech where, like, you know, I used to always put on like Diana, and if I have to move it later, I can move it later. Red buff, I'm considering just putting on Lee Sin just to give him 3 items. Red buff is pretty good on Morgana as well, but I just think it'll do more damage on Lee Sin. Morgana does do the spread, like she does the snowflake, so it might be a Morgana item, but Lee Sin also like shoots in like a cone, so he'll provide the anti-heal, and having the bonus damage on the Lee Sin, I think, is a little bit more important, right? Typically Morello is really nice on Morgana, but that's because it also doubles as like an AP item, so it kind of synergizes well with her kit. Here, hopefully my KAYN can go infinite. Now I have KAYN 2, so I'm pretty stable, so I'm going to try an Econ and go 9, right? That's my plan. So go 9, find a Wukong, and play 7 Heavenly. That's like the rough plan. We'll see what goes wrong this game, and I'll point it out after. But I think it's definitely, in this case, I think it would have been better to put Heavenly Emblem on Lee Sin and the other item on this unit. And you'll see why. I kind of figured out. I kind of set myself up for failure, but I'll explain later what's up and everything that's going on. Stats, Explorer. Yeah, Deathblade's minus Delta as well. Yeah, so KAYN's just going infinite. This is what I mean. This comp is pretty bad, but you need to really hit. Like, if I don't have this KAYN, I definitely lose every fight. And I'm already 40 HP, right? Because my mid game wasn't particularly strong. So we run into like a conundrum a little bit. The other thing is that the heavenly bonuses are like really important now, especially if you make it to like a Wukong, which we'll see later. So KAYN's just this is like a good example of positioning, right? I position on this side. I basically avoid everything. I immediately snipe the backline. So I'm in a really good spot. I still might lose this just because of the way. Actually, no. My KAYN's full HP. Deathblade on KAYN, I really like it because this KAYN kind of just shreds. He just does so much fucking damage. So I kind of like the bonus damage with the KAYN. Here there's like 2 extra KAYNs. Right? I'm looking around. I'm seeing like, okay, who else is playing KAYN? Do I hold on to these? Like, do I bother? Guy with the Bloodthirster ended up playing Silas, so he didn't even end up contesting, but I think that's probably why I rolled so hard. Or I rolled so early. I still have this Titans that I could just slam. I think Titans on Kiana is probably okay. I'm not sure exactly what I'm holding them for. Because I could just make the item and just make myself a little bit stronger. Because any item on Kiana kind of goes infinite, right? Or even on Diana, Titans on Diana is probably okay. Just because, like, if a fight's really close, it'll be pretty bad. But as you can see, like, a lot of people, like the people that didn't fully hit their board or are holding a lot of units, right? They're kind of like in no man's land. I guess he's holding units because he's cluttered, like cluttered mind. But like for a lot of people that aren't like really strong, I have 3 really good augments, right? Healing Orbs will always heal up my KAYN. Heavenly Emblem, which I'm using actively like to build my board, and then Little Buddies is basically buffing all my 4 costs, right? I was fairly low HP. As you can see, I'm on my way up. I'm catching up. It is Crab Rave, So everybody's gonna hit like some kind of giga capped out board. So for me, it's like if I'm not hitting my max cap version of this board, I will fall off later, right? Obviously I roll deep. I have this KAYN 2. I might end up having like a KAYN 3. We'll see how the game goes. But we have like some sort of like we have some sort of goal in mind, right? The thing is, if I didn't hit KAYN or Lee Sin, I'd be in a really bad spot. So you have to roll very aggressively on 8 to hit both of these, which is why you have to be really rich to play this comp. And it's like whenever you talk about a comp and it's like, oh, you know, you need to be rich, you need to hit the unit, then you have to go 9 and you have to do this. It's like typically that's a comp that's like a lot worse, right, in the meta, right, compared to something like Ashboard, right, like Ash Wardens. That's a very good comp. That's very strong. Why? Because it's like, oh, if you have an Ash 1, you're probably stable. You just make a bunch of Wardens. They're low-cost units. You probably already have them upgraded. And you just roll. As long as you're not contested that you can't hit any of the units, you could just roll infinite gold on level 8. And just have all of the, everything that you want, right, in the world. I got Encounter. I make blue buff, red buff Shiv. I have triple item on Morgana now, which is incredibly good. But also a problem, which we'll see later, right? Now, I want you guys to maybe, let's make it a little bit fun. What do you think the problem is going to be late game, looking at my board, right? Now I'm thinking, like, do I just sell the KAYNs to make econ? And I say yes. Yeah, I'm just like, I'll sell the KAYNs, fuck it. Because going for KAYN 3 is a little bit awkward, because I definitely need to make it. And there's another fucking KAYN here. Like, the 1 gold I really want to make, because I want to be making 5. For like 2 more rounds, because I want to go level 9 here, and I need to have enough gold to roll down to hit a Wukong 2. Now look at my board, chat and or YouTube audience, if you can, post what you think the biggest issue with my board is right now. There is a really big glaring issue right here that will show up in a second. It's not as big of an issue right now, but it will become an issue in like a turn or 2, and I will mention it as soon as it happens. Try and think about it, because this is something I learned this game, because I didn't have the foresight to see what was going on, because this is a very like old way of playing the board, right? It's not like adapting to like the new way of playing the board, but we'll see what happens, right? This was like, you know, when I was in Diamond 2, it was a little bit earlier in the patch, right? These are moments that you should learn really hard. I made a big oopsie this game, right? It's not selling the KAYNs. Right, I know I keep seeing KAYNs in my shop. I don't know why. I thought that I would make econ. Normally I don't see this many KAYNs, especially on level 8. Right, I very rarely hit the 3-star 4 cost. Like, there's times where I roll like 80 gold on level 9. I don't even hit this many KAYNs. But anyways, that's not the mistake. That's one mistake, but that's like hindsight, right? If you could think about the mistake, please make sure, like, you know, if you think you know what it is, go ahead and type it in the comment. But don't be toxic about it, right? Like, I don't need everybody to dissect all the fucking mini issues. It's like there's like a pretty like dumb, silly issue. It's not, like I said, it's not the biggest issue right now, but it will be. And then we'll mention it when I'll mention it when it actually happens. But yeah, right now it's kind of smooth sailing. I lost against like 1 guy so far, right? So it's like it's kind of stressful, because if you look, like, I'm kind of close to like just like going, like, you know, if I fight 2 strong people, I just lose out, right? I don't understand this guy. Wasn't this the guy that was like full streaking this guy or this guy, and now they're just gonna go bot 4? Like, how do you not convert it? Like, why would you take reinforcement? I think whoever took reinforcement, that's what I mean. They were like 100 streaking, Crab Rave, Giga Strong, Ash Lilia, full board, everything upgraded, and they're going bot 4 out of nowhere, right? Maybe they just didn't hit the frontline units. I don't know. I take QSS here because QSS is like all right on Wukong. I'm trying to collect items for Wukong at this point. I could also put on Kiana. Yeah, so here it's after Carousel. I'm still pretty not that rich, but I start rolling. And I'm trying to find a Wukong. Okay, now this is the issue. Monkey Brain, I just buy the Morgana. So now I will explain what the issue is. Who do I replace for Wukong? I have 3-item Lee Sin 2, 3-item KAYN 2, 3-item Morgana 2, and I have just this Diana, right? So you're like, oh yeah, well you obviously replace the Diana because you don't need Diana because Dragon Lord Sage. Then who holds my emblem? Oh, so fucking stupid. This is why people put the emblem on the fucking Lee Sin. Oh, I get it now. But that's what I mean. This is why I was looking at this VOD and I was like, why did I struggle so hard? Isn't this like an easy line to play? Look what happened, right? I have 3 items on Morgana, 3 items on KAYN, 3 items on Lee Sin, and everybody else is a heavenly unit. I can't play 7 heavenly. 7 heavenly is a huge spike, mind you. Now the problem is, like, it's gonna be a Wukong 1, right? Wukong 1 isn't better than any of these units. That's why, like, you need the item slot open. The Diana has to be replaced, but Diana's holding the heavenly emblem. So now I'm kind of fucked, right? It was so greedy to do this. That's why the emblem has better stats on Diana, because I think if you have the emblem on Diana, it means you make it to level 10. I think that's what's going on, right? That's why it's like worse to put on Lee Sin and stuff. I think like the stats, I got baited so hard, right? So now it's like I'm always going to be at most 6 heavenly, which sucks because that means I'm not going to max cap on any of these guys because I'm not going to make it to level 10, right? Like I'm 29 HP. The game's ending in like at maximum 3-4 rounds, right? 3-4 rounds is not enough to make 80 gold to make it to 10. I don't even have a single Wukong yet, right? So I'm beating these guys, but they're all gonna outcap me, right? They can even get like 3-star legendary, 3-star 4 cost, whatever, right? Like it's kind of rough, right? Now it's a guaranteed top 4, so I made it to top 4. The main thing you should see with this line is obviously if you have like the most important thing is if you look here, that guy that was like 100 streaking the whole game, they didn't even make a top 4. It was either this guy or this guy. I don't remember. I just remember it was this Chibi, the Boiling Point Porcelain guy. That guy should have had a guaranteed top 4 with how strong his spot was. I don't know what happened. I'm not analyzing their game. What I'm trying to say is that I think like his last augment, like the main thing that I saw was his last augment was really fucking dumb. It was just reinforcement. Maybe he had no other options. You got really unlucky. But like in my setup, I have like 3 really good combat augments, right? You can treat this heavenly spat as like a really good combat augment because it buffs your whole team, right? It's not like I got like a faded, like it works well because it's like actually being used. Like my whole team is built around heavenly, right? So that's what I mean. It's like they're all really strong augments, right? That all synergize together really well. Even my silver augment works really nice. It's like one of the better silver augments you can hit with this comp, right? So now I have this Rakan, I have this Wukong. I sell the Kha'Zix because I just itemized the Kha'Zix for the time being. I have 3 items for Wukong as well, which is pretty nice. I would ideally like to hit a Wukong 2 here. Now, if I hit Wukong 2, it's definitely sell like Morgana and Diana and just replace them, right? You replace the Diana and you replace the Morgana. The problem is I don't have another Morgana to replace, right? And right now, this is a stronger board, right? I'm not going to sell KAYN because KAYN is like my main damage dealer in most of this board. But now this is the problem. I can't hit 7 heavenly for my 3-item Wukong, right? And the 3-item Wukong is like the max cap. Here I'm playing like a very capped faded board, right? I think there's 7 faded, 6 dryad, right? There's a chance this Syndra just like, yeah, the Syndra just goes infinite, right? That's like a 7 heavenly diff, right? I feel like if I had Wukong do a little bit more, I win that fight. But I don't think I'm going to beat that guy. I have the 1 Soraka. I'm rolling for the Wukong, right? Upgrading the units doesn't matter anymore, by the way. It doesn't scale off star. Here, I should probably replace everything, right? I should sell the Morgana and replace it. But instead, I'm kind of waiting till I have Wukong 2. That's the big problem. Like, here was another mistake. I had a chance. There was a Morgana in my shop. The problem is, it's like, it's really scary to say I'm going to sell a Morgana 2 for a Wukong 1 when my Morgana is also doing a lot of work, right? If you watch in the fight, my Morgana does a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure I lose this fight because, like I said, this guy's just capped now, right? Made it to level 10. Look at this, level 10 with Kaisa. So I don't even think I win without Wukong 2. So selling the Morgana, I don't think makes much of a difference. If I had Wukong 2, I would have sold the Morgana for sure. And I end the game 3rd, right? The problem is, like, if I put the spat on the 2-star unit, right? As you can see, like, here, we'll pause it. If That was like one of the big things. So this is something you have to keep in mind, right? Especially if you have like the heavenly spat. Like just because it was crab rave and it was like really strong items, you usually don't run into this problem. But I had 3 items on all of these units and they were all upgraded, so I couldn't reasonably sell one of them to get 7 heavenly in for this Wukong, right? It was probably a little bit better, but then I had nobody to hold the heavenly spat. I think that's why it turned into a 3rd. That being said, I don't think I beat either of these people. This guy's level 10 with a Teemo 3, and this guy is yeah, this guy is like what? He's I think he's 7 faded, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he's 7 faded with 2 emblems. So he's able to play this Ash, which is really good, and he's able to play this Udyr, which is really good. And then he has 3-star what's his name? 3-star Aphelios and 3-star Amumu, right? So I think against both of these guys, I don't win anyways. It's just like those high roll crab rave games. It just happens like that, right? Things happen. Life is life, right? Yeah, this guy, I don't understand what he did. He didn't play snipers. Did he just not find any because like other people were holding it? It's okay. But that's like a Heavenly KAYN game, right? Obviously, like, you know, it's not the best played one, but just understanding like what items to make, understanding item economy, right? Like understanding like, okay, I don't have BT, so that means I definitely need Edge of Night because I won't have like the shield from BT, right? That's like a good tip, right? I made Even Shroud, right? I held these items because I really wanted red buff for later, right? I think I eventually make Titans at one point, right? Or no, I get the Lee Sin encounter, so I get a bunch of Morgana items, right? So then this turns into Shiv, Rabadons, and I get Tier, and I have 3 item Morgana, right? Stuff like that. Hopefully this was useful. Hopefully it was like somewhat informative. The comp is still good. Like it's still a top 4able comp, right? This was in Crab Rave. There were really capped boards. There was really strong players, but I was still able to, as long as you know where your stabilization point is, you just have to hit really hard. So you have to make sure that you're really rich. Because you need to have that out. Even if you're stuck on level 8, you need to hit like either Lee Sin 2 or KAYN 2 or both in order to be like somewhat stable. And it has really good matchup into like some of the other boards. Like Lilia board, it has really good matchup into because Lilia is really good sniping backline. If you have no backline and you kind of just like twerk on them, it works really well. The Ash board is the same way. If you could get past like the Warden, maybe sneak or cheese a backline kill, you kind of like go nuts, go infinite. So yeah. Hopefully this was a fun video. Like the rest of this week, it might be a little bit scattered like this, just because I'm working on art. And then next week we'll have like more like proper dedicated content. I'll do like another guide. Maybe I'll do 2 guides next week to make up for this week. So yeah, it'll be fun. See ya.